All right, all right, all right. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic day. If you are watching this from Facebook, I would love for you to please share this video. It's a new show. We just launched it. Also, if you're watching from YouTube, if you could share the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you like it, and comment down in the comment section. Also, ring that bell icon so you never miss another video. All right, we have a new show today called The Sum of All Parts, and this was an idea that I had because I got a lot of people from all over that watch, right? Well, a lot of people really don't understand things from the lower income community. I don't like to use black community or minority communities or Mexican communities or anything like that because I feel like that's divisive. But at the same time, I understand that a lot of people don't really get the whole gist of everything. And a lot of people have a notion that all minorities are the same. Like if a black guy is a criminal, then because of the news, all black people must be criminals. Or if a Mexican person is Mexican, then they're automatically illegal, or things like that. Gangs, drugs, all these different types of issues. So I created this show to shed light on some of those situations and some of those topics, also to bridge the gap. So everybody can have an understanding, a clear understanding from a lot of different people. And the whole point of this show is to show everyone that though we're all American, there's a lot of different things in America. There's a lot of diversity in America. There's a lot of different belief systems in America. And we aren't going to let any of those things divide us. And I want to show you the narrative from minorities of how people, feel things or how they view things or how we feel viewed and things like that. So the point of this show is to help bring an understanding, not just from minorities, but to America, to the world. So you can see that we all have difference of opinions. Really, none of us really agree on a lot of topics, but we still love each other. We're not divided, all right? And not all of us are the same. So let me introduce you guys to the new cast, to the new panel for this new show. I hope you guys like it. I really do. I'm excited about this show. First, I'm going to bring up the co-host, the famous, infamous John Tisha.
Oh, geez, you're too much. You're really too much. What's up, Cash?
She's awesome. All right. How you doing, lady?
I am well. I'm nervous, but
it's all good.
But
you're a street light. Everybody already loves you.
Sometimes, you got to get pushed out of your comfort zone in order to make progress and change and reach people and influence positivity and all that stuff. So, and also out of my own head. So it works.
Bring Chris over. Where's Chris at? Say hi, Chris. I know you here, bro.
Walked out really fast.
There he is. Oh, there's your man right there. That's Chris, everybody. He's awesome as well. Also, you served, right?
Yes.
He's an American hero, everyone. So yeah, give him some love down in the comment section below. I love both of them. They are really dope. I got a great relationship with them, so I thought that they would be a great asset to the show. Thank you guys. I appreciate you for coming, for real. I love y'all. Let's bring in somebody that was a mentor to me and is a mentor to me. He's a dear, dear brother of mine. We have such difference of opinions, but so much in common, so much that is actually alike. And this dude has been teaching me things since I was 14 years old. And he's a very dear brother to my heart. He's very different than me, let me tell you that, but he's also very the same. We have the same kind of heart. All right. Let me introduce you guys to my brother, Dallas Carter X.
Peace, everybody. Street Lights, what's good? Cash, what's good? What's happening? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Nervous.
Wanted to give that introduction.
Yeah, right.
About this show. Excited.
Bring in.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, brother.
No. My name is Dallas Carter X. As he said, I've been in Cash's life for so many years. I want to tell you, I'm proud of you. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this panel. And I look forward to bridging whatever gaps that we can bridge and come to a better understanding so we can move forward our agenda for America, for whatever group that is in America. We're all Americans, and we need to come to a common ground. So that's what I'm
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, my brother. All right. Introducing next, another mentor of mine. This brother has inspired me, and little people don't know this, but Streetlights actually, the idea of streetlights came from the brother that I'm about to introduce you to. I used to go and sit, and he's a minister. He knows that Bible front to back, but he's also a down to earth dude. He has a wide variety of views, also has the same kind of heart as myself, but he came up with the concept of streetlights, and we just never made anything happen with it. So when all this stuff happened, I took the concept of streetlights because I had a vision for it as well. And this is the vision that I had, and it aligns with the vision that he had almost to a T, almost. So I want to introduce you guys to the infamous Brian, Mr. Real Hill.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
That's my big brother right there, y'all. He's great. All right. He's going to be a part of this panel. Every Sunday, we're going to be doing this show. Mr. Real, I appreciate you coming on, brother. Thank you.
Anytime, brother.
All right. Now, last but not least, all right, I got somebody who is a street light, and I met her in the course of doing what we're doing with streetlights. Okay. And let me tell you, she was not a fan of me at first. At first, she was like, sucker, you don't know what you're talking about, and I don't like you, you know? And then me and her actually spoke. And when we spoke, she was like, yo, I hear you. You know what? I didn't see everything else before, but I really appreciate what you're doing, and I believe in you now. And I'm with you. I'm a street light. So let me introduce you guys to one of my favorite people so far. And I'm looking forward to getting to know her even better. And I'm looking forward to you guys getting to know her better that's watching. Let me introduce you to Miss Gabby.
Hi.
Say what's up, Miss Gabby.
How are you guys doing? Nice to meet you all.
Fantastic. All right. So everybody, we're going to get into some discussions today. All right. I went over it all. We're not going to overtalk each other, but I want to share this. This is the introduction to this show. So it's not going to get as deep as it's going to get in the weeks to come, but we're going to touch on some topics today. First, I want to introduce everybody as a whole. I want to show you guys how we all have a difference of opinion and different views on the world. So first, we're going to start with John Tisha. John Tisha, I got a question. Right off the bat, are you a Republican or are you a Democrat?
I would say I'm probably more independent with conservative views.
So you're around in the middle. You're like right in the fence, but more conservative.
I'm not really like far right or far left. I'm in the middle with probably leaning towards more conservative views than anything.
Okay, conservative, almost conservative. Brother Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Gonna move over to you. What is your political views, brother? Are you a Democrat or are you a Republican?
I don't ascribe to neither. If there was any one party that I'd probably be more ascribed to, would be more conservative ideas and views, as well as independent mindset that I have, which we'll discuss later. But I do not ascribe to either one.
Gotcha. Miss Gabby, how you doing, girl?
I'm fine.
All right. What about you, Gabby? Are you a Republican or are you a Democrat?
Well, I'm normally for the Democratic Party, but as of now, I can't say.
Wow, that's like, interesting. That is very, very interesting to hear. Maybe you'll walk away. Maybe the walk away. We'll see. We'll see what happens as this show progresses and as we dive into things and learn more from each other. Okay. Mr. Real, are you, sir, a conservative or are you liberal, Democrat or Republican?
I'm a patriot, man. I'm a Republican.
Okay.
I love this.
This is interesting. This is interesting. Okay. So right off the bat, we have myself. You guys know mine. I wasn't really political at first, but now I gotta say, and I'm gonna be totally real, I lean more conservative. I would say I'm more conservative than not. I didn't know how conservative I was until starting doing all of these things. Okay. So getting into discussion. What do you guys feel is one of the biggest issues facing the minority community today? Jantisha, we'll start with you.
For me personally, what I see is a lack of willingness to be understanding of other people and to really listen. versus trying to tell somebody what they believe or how they feel and whatnot. And I think because of the lack of willingness to understand someone else is where we get also a lot of division and a lot of conflict.
Right.
And I know he's got more of a different, semi-different perspective on that as well. But for me, that's kind of what I see as far as the people that I interact with.
Okay. Dallas, how about you, man? What do you feel like is the biggest issue faced in minority communities today?
The biggest issue, I would say, in coming from the school of thought, I'd probably be one of the most controversial members here, which is from the Nation of Islam. I come from the school of thought of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And one thing that is core belief and what we stand on is independent thinking. And I believe that for too long, as minorities in America, even though we are the majority as far as brown and black people in the world, but in America, I think that we have spent far too long kind of laying at the foot of white America, begging for things that we can actually do for ourselves. And I think that's one of our biggest issues is, again, I don't mind anybody doing whatever they feel they need to do for freedom, for justice, for equality. But to beg for it and ask for it, I'm not a big believer in that. I believe that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. And if we united, we can give for ourselves what everybody else has on the earth.
Respect. I respect that.
Yes,
Ms. Gabby, what would you say is the biggest issue faced in the community of minorities today?
I can touch on like so many things, but for me, a lot of things that I see is a lot of minorities. You have like certain minority individuals, like they think they're actually better than other minorities. You see what I'm saying? Like I see this all the time. Like at the end of the day, we're all looked and viewed at the same way as minorities. And you have some that actually think like, hey, well, I'm this race, we're a minority, but I'm still better than your race. And to me, that's something that I think needs to stop and everybody needs to come together.
Okay, that's real. Mr. Real, speaking of being real, sir, what would you say is what is the biggest issue faced with the minority community today?
Self-mutilation, self-sabotage, low self-esteem. We hurt ourselves, because of how we were indoctrinated in this country, and how, if you go way back to how they indoctrinated us to be divided, we are our own worst enemy. And if you look at every other culture sticks together. The Chinese stick together, the Latins stick together. Absolutely. The white folks stick together, the Jews, the Indians, everybody stick together but minorities. And so there's always somebody trying to pull you down when you're trying to come up. So because we don't understand who we are and why we're here because of indoctrination, we self-mutilate ourselves. So when we start cutting the body, you're affecting the body. And we don't know how to encourage or bandage each other up. So this is a result of what we're seeing now.
Okay, a lot of different opinions. Okay. Personally, my belief of what is the biggest issue that we're faced with today in minority communities is, I feel like we think that we're owed something. I think that we have a lack of knowledge. The biggest issue, I feel, is a lack of knowledge, which goes into everything that you all were just talking about. Okay. A lack of understanding and a lack of knowledge. And a lot of us think that we're owed something because of what we feel that we know, and not looking at what we don't know. Okay. And what I mean by that is, we, for instance, like you say about self-mutilation, we hate ourselves. In turn, we kill each other. You know what I'm saying? And when you say that, begging at the feet of white America, that also comes from a lack of knowledge, not understanding how to go out and get it for yourself. And from the liberal side of things, then just giving things to us to keep us dependent, like a never-ending crutch. So it's very deep, man. What I got inside myself about that. So the next question that I have is, what do we do to overcome these things, to attack those issues? So John Tisha, for the thing that you said that was the issue, the biggest issue that we have. How would you feel would be a great way for us to come together and overcome it?
Well, now you're talking about choice.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really, at the end of the day, it comes down to personal choice, making the choice to see somebody for who they are and not for what you think they are, or who you think they are, instead of labeling someone or assuming right off top who they are based on what you see versus what you're willing to like dig deep into and find out about them. It's a choice to do that, and that's an accountability thing. And if what our end goal really is at the end of the day is connection and peace and positive relationships for growth, if that's what our real end goal is, then we have to be willing to move outside of ourselves and what we think kind of what you said, kind of outside of ourselves and what we think we know, and be willing to dive deep and really ask the questions, but really be willing to listen and understand where the other person is coming, even if we might not agree with that.
I agree totally.
And that's a hard thing to do, because then you got to rely on people to make that choice.
Yeah, that's true. Dallas, what about you, brother? How do you feel for what you said is the biggest issue here in America for minorities as a people? What do you feel like we can do to overcome that issue?
Well, the solution, I think everybody's touched on it. The first thing that we have to do, as I would say, and I'm going to deal with, and Cash, we come from the same background. I'm mixed. My mother's a Caucasian woman, beautiful Caucasian woman. My father's a black man. My late father died 10 years ago. But I truly believe that let's reparations. We don't have to talk about reparations, but the base word of reparations is repair, right? So as Mr. Real
wait, hold on, wait. Let me stop you real quick, big brother, before you go into reparations.
No, I don't want to go into
feel look. Okay. Before you even get into that, what do you feel that we can do? That's the question. What do you feel that we go ahead?
I'm going to say that. So the base word of reparations is repair. Okay. And so when you look at 450 years of psychological trauma, we're behind so far in the game that I believe the problem is not money. You can give us $1 trillion right now and we give it right back to the same power structure that put us in this condition. Okay, so what we need not to do is point fingers anymore, say the white man did this and that. So I agree with you. The blame game is over. Responsibility, self-responsibility. Now we have all of the teachers who have come. Even this show right here is wisdom, a base of wisdom that we can pull from to say, what do we need to do? Which is, I believe our psychological psyche is off of love of self. If you don't have love of self, or you don't even see yourself important enough to think you deserve anything, you can start right there and you can stop right there. So I think that healing has to take place first in the black and brown community, the red community. As we live in a structure, we don't want to get into, I know these are all topics, I'm going to stay on course of white supremacy and all of this, but we do live in a country that we have been put last, okay? So again, it comes back to the love of self. And again, we can go into so many topics that you brought up. How can we demand love from somebody else, respect from somebody else, when we don't show love and respect for ourselves, right? But how does that healing take place? That would be the question I ask. How do you heal in the same land you've been tortured in? How do you heal in when the same things are going on and on and on? So I'll leave it right there.
I got you. I'm gonna touch on that. That was good.
Okay, and let me say one last thing to further my point with that. It's like a woman trying to heal in the same house that she's been raped in, and her husband has cheated on her. Sometimes you need to get away. Sometimes you need to separate. Sometimes you need a place of your own to repair. And I think it's going to be.
We're going to elaborate on that a little bit more. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. All right. Miss Gabby, how would you say is the best way to attack the issue that you feel is the biggest issue in the minority community today?
Well, first, I would say your words, unite, not fight. Okay, that's first of all, right? And then here's the thing. let's stop pointing the finger at each other. You see what I'm saying? Let's stop feeling like, oh, well, I'm this race and you're that race, but our race is better. That has to stop, first of all. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's stop pointing the finger and saying, okay, look, just because, okay, you're killing Hispanic people, now we don't like black people. You know, like every race kills every race. So let's
Yeah.
not just sit here and just stop, you know what I'm saying, liking a certain race just because you know, what we see on social media, or this murder happened and this is happening, you know, because I'm seeing so much of it that it's ridiculous, and we have to stop putting everybody in the same category.
Yes.
We're not all the same.
I
Every
agree.
race, especially now minorities, everyone have their certain bad seeds that we got to weed out. But don't sit here and fight over it. Let's come together and stand united and figure it out.
I agree 100% wholeheartedly. That was good. I like that. Okay, Mr. Real, my brother, how would
So
you feel?
one of the biggest issues we have in our communities is accountability. Nobody wants to be accountable to one another. Everybody want to do their own thing. Pride is a big issue. And until we can start tearing down our own pride and realize that, hey, man, I need some help. A lot of us don't want to ask for help. A lot of us don't believe we need help, but we do. And as a community, we need help. And I agree with what Dallas was saying and what Gabby was saying. We got to stop pointing the finger and blaming the white man. It ain't his fault. When I got caught, when I got my car broke into and stole, they was black. When I got jacked on the side of my house, they was black. You know, I can't say it was the white man. I got to start looking at self, and that goes back to us and not realizing who we are and the potential that we have. All of us got opportunity. We can't blame it on the white man because opportunity is vast. And so we stop making excuses, stop blaming everybody else for why we're not getting up to do what we're supposed to do. And we start taking some authority over our lives and some self-accountability and looking in the mirror and saying, dog, you jacked up. You need to get healed. It's your fault. We can't keep blaming everybody else. And so when we understand that, we'll start understanding everybody else, and we'll start coming together as a community and as a unit, and we'll start uniting as a unit. We'll say, hey, man, we can do this. A fist is stronger together than it is. Say, you smack somebody, they're going to feel it. But if you hit them with a fist, you'll knock them out. And so we got to start understanding that we're stronger together as a unit than we are separated. And this has been something that's plagued our community forever. We have to become solutionists. Instead of pointing out a problem, we need to become solutionists to that problem and start executing versus waiting on somebody else to do it for us. Because until we get up and do it, it ain't going to get done.
Agreed. Okay, so for me, I love everybody's response. Every one of you guys, you had a great response, okay? And all of you are right. Literally, every one of you guys are right. Because that's why I asked all of you individually, what do you feel the biggest issue is? Okay, that was the whole point of it, because it's more than just one issue. That was the whole point of the question, to point out that there's more than just one issue. We're just 5 people here. We are just 5 people that just pointed out 5 issues, but there's a multitude more. All right, but these are 5 issues that we feel are very deep in the community that needs to be addressed. And Dallas, what you said, you're right. You know, you can't expect a woman that was raped and beaten and all this in her home to be able to heal and repair herself inside that home, while she's still living with the person that did it to her. Now, where I disagree is the person that did it to her may have died years ago, but she's still living with the people that come from that person, but don't share the same view as the person that did that to her. Okay, so when we look at America and all the things that did happen in America to minorities, and you know, even the more recent stuff, we're not saying that it's, you know, that it's just dead and gone. But what I'm saying is that we have more opportunity now than we ever have before to be whatever we want to be, to do whatever we want to do. And like Mr. Real said, we have to look at each other. And Gabby, you said the same thing. We have to stop pointing the finger at everybody else and just look at each other. And if we're gonna fix, you know, the minority people, our people, which I believe we're all one people. I don't just believe because I'm a minority that I only identify with minorities, because Dallas, like you said, we're mixed. You know what I'm saying? My people is all people. But if we're gonna fix minority people, then we have to be able to talk to minority people and say, yo, look, you're a reflection of me. and you're messing up with what you're doing when you killing somebody, or you gang banging, or you selling dope, or whatever it is that you're doing. And I done been there. I done did some of the things that you're doing too. We have to fix that. You got to stop doing that, because they're going to put you on the news and make all of us look bad. So we have to address it in our communities. The issues that we have to address them, and we have to do it properly with love. All right. So let me go ahead and unmute you guys real quick, because we're going to keep moving on. Anybody else have anything on this topic that you want to talk about further? No? Anyone?
Well, do you?
I agree with everyone. Pretty much, especially with the whole, killing each other, like that definitely has to stop. Like that's the biggest role here. And one thing I don't do is I don't support it just because, like, oh, I'm black and you're black and you kill somebody. Like, I'm cool with that. No, I'm not. Like, I cannot stand it, and I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we stop that?
I hear you. I got a question for you guys. What do you feel like has changed? Because just a couple years ago, man, the divide wasn't this bad. The stuff that you see in the news today, and how we're so divided, and then you got like Black Lives Matter and all these groups that are coming out and they're protesting, and all this stuff is going on, and there's such a hate for one man that's in office that really, in my opinion, has done more for the black community, more for minorities than any president since Lincoln, maybe even more than Lincoln. So what do you feel like has happened? What do you think it is that's driving this force? We'll start with you, John Tisha. John Tisha is frozen. Dallas, we'll go to you, brother. What do you feel?
Okay, I think that's a beautiful question, brother. I mean, that really is. Is she back? No. Okay, so what I want to say to that, point is, I think we're in the best time that we've ever been in America, because I don't think that the issues were ever like dealt with. They were never atoned for, and there's many different issues. I mean, you've got everybody in America has been hurt and traumatized in some type of way, right? However, I think the beautiful thing that happened, and one thing my teacher, Minister Farrakhan, said is that this current president, Mr. Trump, who we respect as our president, however, he's a president that I think has been more of a blessing than people think, not just because of the judicial orders he signed. I know I got a particular time to make my point, but it's that he's honest. And I think that we're waking up to see that you're seeing more black people being open to be Republican. We're in the information age now. We're looking at a Democratic Party now being exposed for certain things that they've done worse to the black community and the brown community than we've ever known, even with the crime bill, even with Mr. Biden. Right now, he's put us in a position that you got black folks that probably would never vote for Trump, that has no choice but to put him back because of the things that this man has said. So I think we're in a time now of exposure. We're in a time now where Trump came in and he was himself. Yes. And I think it allowed everybody else to come out of that closet that they felt like I can't say anything. If you don't like black folk, you don't like black folk. If you don't like white people, you don't. People should have a freedom of speech, right? But I think a lot of those freedoms have been taken away a long time. And I think now this president has opened up a bottle that we've kept hidden for a long time. And now the discussion is open. The emotions are open. Yes, people are losing their lives to this, but it's all a part of the process of the war of coming out and being born into a new society, the society that America truly should be. And I think we just have to have this conversation. It's painful, but it's needed. And I think this president, we need him for, and I know I might lose a few people on this, but we need him for another 4 years. He ain't done with his work.
What? Bro, you just shocked me.
Listen,
Whoa.
I'll end my point with that. I'll end my point with that. He was chosen by God, and I'll put it that way. I'll just leave it right
Whoa, there. Bro, you just gave me chills, Dallas. Mind you guys, I want you to understand something, and this is why I love this show already, okay? Because Brother Dallas is a Muslim. He is a student of Islam who studies under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, okay?
Absolutely.
And this man just said that he needs Trump for another 4 years. And
Absolutely.
Gave props to him. So that right there, we'll come back to all of this because this is all important. Okay. Moving over, Mr. Real, my brother. Go ahead. What do you feel is furthering this divide, man?
Real talk from a spiritual point of view, man. The leaders have been too chicken to address real issues. You know what I'm saying? And the leaders are too chicken to go into the communities and deal with what the problem is. If you're afraid, you can't run around telling people to change, but you won't show them how to change. And because real talk, all they're doing is trying to collect change to further their pockets, and that's just being real. And so when you're not really addressing real problems and real issues and touching the heart of the community, I mean, in the word, it tells you to go out, touch the people, talk to the people, get to know the people. That's how they were so effective in those biblical times. And so now we're afraid to talk to each other. We're afraid to address issues. We're afraid to really deal with stuff. It's just like a woman that's been, or even a man that's been molested most of their life and they never deal with it. And so as a result, as they get older, they start manifesting that anger and that rejection and that hurt and all that pain. And because we don't address the pain or deal with the pain, this is a result of what we're seeing now. You're seeing people's pain manifest. And so, and now, if you understand generational curses, the pain is manifesting through our children and our children's children. And so it's manifesting through them. And that's why when you start understanding spiritually, you're going back generations to deal with issues. Now it's being manifested through our children. And so because the government tied our hands as Gen X and told us you can't chastise your children, you can't touch them, or we're gonna lock you up. And so now we're seeing the manifestation of that, of lawlessness, of disrespect, and not really giving a doggone because we couldn't deal with their pain on our own. The government said they could deal with it. They medicated all of them. They put them on Similac. They put Ritalin and Lexapro and Concerta and Adderall and all these different medications in our kids. And now we're seeing a result of pain being manifested, rejection being manifested, and hurt being manifested. So until we really start dealing with them core issues and we start addressing those issues, we're gonna continue to see the manifestation. And right now it's erupting in violence, it's erupting in disorder, it's erupting in chaos, and now it's getting out of control. And you still don't see. And I'll speak from my point of view from the church, you still don't see the church addressing. You don't see
Brother,
nobody.
You are hitting a lot of stuff right now, man. You and Dallas both are on fire right now.
We still hiding from the fact that we still need to get out here. I look at some of these preachers, and I'm going to get done in a second. I look at some of these preachers that's getting on Facebook and all this stuff, and I've been wanting to get on and tell them, just shut the hell up and go sit down somewhere, because you're still trying to get paid. You're still talking about your Cash App. You're still trying to talk about stuff that's not got nothing to do with what's going on today. We possibly could be entering into the end times, and you're still talking about getting paid. And we need to be preparing people for what's to come or what we're dealing with now. So we got some work to do, man.
Preach, brother. I appreciate you, Mr. Real. Dallas, man, both of you guys right now, I ain't gonna lie, you both like gave me chills. Both of y'all, brothers. I'm telling you. Okay, so we're gonna move over to John Tisha. John Tisha, what do you feel is furthering this divide? Why are we so divided right now? What is it? Wait a minute, your mic is muted. Hold on. Oh, you gotta unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. John Tisha, unmute your mic.
Sorry, my bad.
Go for it. Oh, Gabby, where'd you go?
Huh?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I know I said it earlier, and I know it probably sounds like I'm repeating myself or whatever, but 99% of the time we're teaching and encouraging people to be individuals, to think for themselves, to not worry about what everyone else is doing or where they're at in their life, and to worry about yourself and really think about who you are, where you want to be, what type of person you want to be. 99% of the time, we teach that until now. Till now, all of a sudden, majority rules. All of a sudden, it's mass mentality, it's herd mentality. All of a sudden, you have to worry about what everyone else is thinking. And so everybody is walking in fear, which is a lie, because again, it's a choice. It is a choice every single day. Our lives are built out of every single choice that we make, from when we were able to really be accountable all the way to our adult years, to make a choice of walking in the light or walking in the dark, walking in fear, walking in strength, walking in power, or really believing. Again, someone touched on self-love earlier. really believing that they have value, that we have value. And if we have value, then we have purpose in this world. And if we're walking in fear, then what do people do who are afraid? They lash out and they attack and they don't listen, and they live in the defense instead of living in peace and light and wanting to be able to connect and reach out to other people. And I
hear you.
Now, but it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
I hear you.
And I know it probably wasn't as deep as you guys, and I miss Dallas's, but
no, it's fine. You did great.
That power is within we were created that way, with that power, with confidence and a strong mind and the ability to do these things. And we are so drowned in the noise that's around us that we forget that, and we continue to walk in fear and in pain and in struggle and all these things, even though that's been defeated.
Yes.
And we're fully capable of walking in our own power, our own presence together, iron sharpening iron, for the rest of our lives until Jesus comes back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I hear you. Okay, let's move on over. Miss Gabby, how do you feel, or what do you feel is furthering this divide? Why are we where we are right now as a whole community?
In my opinion, here's the thing. As a president, right, when you over your country, you run the country, at what point do you say, I need everybody to come together as one? I need us to stop the division, stop the hate, stop. I have not once seen him get on national television and tell everybody to put down the guns, come together and stop fighting and stop killing each other. Have he said that? Because if he did, I missed it.
No,
and if he did, I apologize. But I feel like as a president, you take some responsibility and say something.
I hear you. I understand. So you feel like it's the president that's furthering the divide?
I feel like at this point, it's the worst that I've really ever seen it. I mean, prior to when Obama was president, I've seen a lot of bumper stickers. I've seen a lot of nooses with the dummies, all kinds of stuff. They did the most. And okay, so it's kind of slowly progressed into this. And so therefore the hate is already in so many people's hearts. So now I feel like since Trump has become president, probably like more so right now, like you're really seeing the hate. Like everybody's coming out of the woodworks with the hate. And it's not just, I can't say white people, it's everybody. Like everybody, the hate is just there. And I feel like if you come out as a president, I'm the president and I see what's happening to my country, I'm getting on live and I'm like, okay, look, we got to come together. United we stand, divided we fall. Talk to the people, say something. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like by him being silent, it's making people feel a certain type of way.
Just so you know, he has came out and made statements and told everybody to stop the violence. He has. It just doesn't get aired on some of the media stations that some of us watch. Say, most people that's conservative don't watch a liberal news station, and most people that are liberal won't watch a conservative news station. So you will never see it. You will only see the negative that they'll point out.
And I also left out the media.
Yeah.
The media.
Yeah.
I forgot about the media. They play a big role in the mess that's happening today. And I am definitely holding them partially accountable for the foolishness that they keep showing and repeat. Like they got to be held accountable as well.
Yeah. Okay. So give my point on this. The divide was furthering the divide. Definitely the media. It is definitely, I would say, 90% the media, but not just the media. It's also ourselves, because we have an unwillingness to want to listen to anything constructive about someone that we feel to be against us. So even if this person let's say Trump did come out and making a formal statement again and say, hey, you guys need to stop this. We're tearing our country apart and all of this. And I stand with you guys and I'm not against you and all these things, which he has done. He has done that. we still wouldn't accept it if we are not already for him, because we already have it in our minds that he is against us and we have to be against him. So we have this enemy complex where we feel like if somebody's attacking us or they're not with us, then we have to be against them. And no matter what they do, they can't be redeemed. And they speaking some BS. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it is definitely the media. The media twists everything and the media is a main reason why we are so divided right now, because you won't go outside and see a cop killing some black person or some Mexican person. It just doesn't happen like that. But they have us thinking that it is a freaking pandemic, that people are being gunned down at an alarming rate by the police. They have us thinking that when you walk outside, the white person's looking at you like you about to steal something. Or when you walk into a store, they're looking at you like you want to take something or you want to do something wrong. Well, really, that's not it at all. Most people are just doing about their day to day and they don't care what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But they have put it in our minds that this person is an enemy and this person is an ally, when really it's completely the opposite. The ally is actually our enemy and the enemy is actually our ally. You know, if you go back, you guys are talking about the bills that were passed, the crime bill. Joe Biden has locked up more black people than he's helped. People don't understand that. Not to be political, but that's the truth. Bill Clinton and the Clintons themselves came out and promoted, all three of them people came out and promoted a known KKK member. They said that he was their mentor. You know what I'm saying? Gave a eulogy at his funeral. Then you have Trump, who actually got an award from the NAACP for all that he's done in the black community. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so divided because of the media. You know, it's a lot. I know it's a lot. And I urge everybody, don't take what I'm saying and just think that I'm just saying it and that's the truth. No, you go and look it up. Go and look it up for yourself, the things that we're talking about here. All right. So moving forward, I have to ask this question. This is going to be the last question that we're going to ask, and I want everybody to touch on this, and I want to know your standpoint on it, and we're going to do it a little bit differently. And I have to ask it because I also feel the furthering of the divide is groups like Black Lives Matter and groups like the NFAC, things like that. So, do you support Black Lives Matter? Put your hand up like this. Okay, so I'm gonna drop out Jantisha. Mr. Dallas. Gabby, why do you support Black Lives Matter? What is it about it that appeals to you?
Okay, so the whole reason for me supporting it, it's more so as now everybody's looking at Black Lives Matter like some terrorist group. But when Black Lives Matter like really came out, it was more so like people were standing up for each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like we're standing
I
up
supported it when it first came out.
Exactly. And that's it. That's the only thing. Now everything else that's happening now that's involved Antifa and everybody else, I'm not with that part. I'm standing up for the grandmothers. I'm standing up for the hardworking people who actually lost children that were actually doing good, that can't get a fair chance in life, even though they're not criminals. You see what I'm saying? So when I say Black Lives Matter, I'm saying, hey, don't forget about us. Don't just feel like, okay, you're better than us, so your life matters. You see what I'm saying? Right. Everything that Black Lives Matter turned into now, that part I'm not with. You understand? So it's a whole certain different outlook for me. You see what I'm saying? When people are saying don't kneel on the flag when the national anthem's playing, okay, a lot of people is not looking at it like, oh, well, we're disrespecting the people that died and the soldiers that fought. It was more so to raise awareness, like, hey, like, if we're singing United We Stand and God Bless America, like, let's come together and acknowledge everybody as one race. You see what I'm saying? We were already separated from the get-go when you start saying, oh, you're a minority and I'm not. So right there, you separated everybody. You see what I'm saying? Why not even use the word minority? Why not get away with it? You see what I'm saying? Let's just leave that word out. I mean, we should never even have been minorities. We should just be one race, one human race.
I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand you completely, and I respect your point of view, my sister. Just so you know that. Okay, I'm gonna drop you out real quick, and then I'm gonna bring in the other guys and let them voice their opinion about why they do not support Black Lives Matter. Jantisha, why do you not support Black Lives Matter?
I actually agree with a lot of what Gabby said, because in the same way, I I don't agree or support like the big organization of it with all of the chaos and the legit division of that. But the heart of BLM, the heart of caring for the people in the neighborhoods and really wanting to make a change and really wanting to put that back into those neighborhoods and communities, I believe in that. I just don't, the big overall, the founders, the people who
Finance it.
yeah, thank you. Like I don't all that division and all that specific part of it, I don't agree with that. Or some of the people who do promote violence and who do promote segregation and who do promote, fatherless homes because XYZ. Like I don't agree with that part of the big engine of BLM, but the heart
Okay.
of it, what like Abby was saying, I agree with her on that.
Okay. Before we keep going on this, I see you guys giving the definition of minority. I believe she knows the definition of minority, but I get what she's saying. What she's saying is we shouldn't be a minority of a group, because at the end of the day, we are all Americans, and that shows division. Like we're divided instead of being one people in this country. You get what I'm saying? Like over in Greece, I don't believe that they say black Grecian or white Grecian or brown Grecian. It's just you're Greece. You're Greek. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I believe that she means. The minority aspect of it, we shouldn't be separated by groups of color or groups of religion. We should be all one people, Americans. So that was my point. But I'm sorry, Dallas brother, why do you not support Black Lives Matter?
I agree with what the sister said, and I was gonna opt into like you agree, then go into, but I felt like the sister was wise enough to say what she said, and I agree with what she said. I think most of us understand what's going on now. When we see, pure organizations get hijacked for other gain, for political gain, and bullshit like that. Excuse my language, but we gotta toss it out. It's become tainted. It's tainted, it's one reason that the Final Call newspaper doesn't have any outside advertisers, because once somebody pays for an ad and pays for your political advancement or your position in the Senate, then guess what? That call comes in. Hey, so remember that $100,000? Yeah. So we want this contract. And it's unpure after that. You can't represent the people. You have to represent the people that's financing it. It's over for me after that, right? But the pureness of what Black Lives Matter, of course, Black Lives Matter. Of course, all lives matter. Of course, this lives matter. Of course. But right now, we're dealing with what we're looking at again being, and I agree with you, it's being exasperated by the leftist media. We're all seeing this now. So again, I think we're in the most healthiest part of America right now. And if we're going to get to a place where we can say, well, we're all Americans, then we have to go back to the Constitution, because when that was written, we weren't all Americans, because George Washington, who signed it, had slaves, 300 of them back in there picking his apple tree back there, right? So I don't think we were really considered in the original founding fathers of this country. But I think now that we have a new group of youth, white youth, Mexican youth, we're a beautiful mixing pot. And I think it's time now for us to turn a new chapter.
I got you, but I want to clear up something that you said real quick before I get to you, Mr. Real, about the what you're speaking of is a 3/5 clause in the Constitution. And the reason why they had that clause, wasn't the 3/5 clause that you were speaking about, you said we weren't all.
No, I said that when that Constitution was signed, many of those the president at the time and many of those people that signed it had slaves in the field working. So right.
So we weren't all the same. So I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying, this is the point that I was going to make.
Yes, sir.
The 3/5 clause only applied to a slave. It did not apply to black people. It applied to a slave, because you had black slave owners that were actually okay to have the same rights as the white people that were around them, because they actually owned slaves and they had money.
Horrible.
It's always been a class thing. It has always been a class thing. It's always been about money, always. And even though there wasn't a lot or a majority of black slave owners, there was a minority of black slave owners. They were still not treated as the slaves, is what I was getting at. But that's a discussion for another time. And they also that article in the Constitution, the 3/5 clause, was amended and ratified. But we're gonna keep going. Mr. Real, go ahead, man. Weigh in on this.
So as a preacher, as a man of God, every soul matters to me. That's part of my call. Now, I believe every black life matters. Black people are some of the most gifted, talented folk on the earth. Some of the most beautiful people, beautiful women. I mean, we're great people with great purpose. But this goes back to not understanding and knowing who you are. If you need validation for somebody to convince you that you matter, then you need to go get healed, as Dallas said. You need to get healed. If you need validation for somebody to tell you you matter, you need to get healed. I don't agree with the movement because, and I'm getting into my podcast, but a statistic, 40% of abortions in America in 2015 came from black people. 2011, 360,000 black babies were aborted. Let's go to Chicago. What's been happening in the last month? Over 1,000 shootings, over 100 murders. And if you look at the statistics by this time in July in Chicago, 2016, almost 300 people, 17, almost 300 people, 18, 243, 19, 238 people. By 2020, we're up to about 270 people now at this time, being murdered and shot in Chicago. So we can't just run around and say that Black Lives Matter, but we don't want to get involved for every black life that matters, because if we're killing each other, how are we mattering to each other? Because we're still killing one another. And this is why we're treated as a people the way we're treated, because we don't respect each other, we don't love each other, and we killing each other like it's no tomorrow. And we wonder why people they stereotype us as savages, as crazy folk, as uncaged animals. And we got such a bad rep as a people, and we wonder why we're treated the way we're treated, because we don't matter to each other. Because you want to solve the problem with the murders, start opening your mouth and telling on the people who committing them. But black people,
that's it. The no snitching policy gotta go.
We won't tell. So we justice matters. God is concerned about justice for every man. It's concerned about for every man. But if we start taking street justice and trying to solve it on our own and do all this other stuff by ourselves, then we're defeating the whole purpose. So no, I can't support a movement that has not put one dime back in the black community. They've done nothing for black people. I put a post up the other day. They ain't bought one book bag. They ain't spent one dime on trying to help anybody in the black community. You got millions of people out of jobs, and Black Lives Matter now is worth $1 billion, and they're not doing anything to help our community. They're tearing our community down. So we got to wake up. We got to wake up to these devices that the far left is doing and the deep state is doing, and trying to confuse everybody and get everybody all twisted to turn them against one man who's been trying to stop the deep state. And now we got people running around, we're going to blame everything on a man that's been in politics for 3 years. And y'all been in politics collectively over 200, 300 plus years. And so that's the problem. So I can't support a movement that has not done one thing for black people other than create chaos and confusion. And now it's turned into reverse racism, where we're attacking white people, we're shooting people, we're doing all this crazy stuff. And it's out of control right now. So no,
I hear you, my brother. I get it. I'm going to voice my frustration of why, which I've done multiple times. I don't even know if I really need to, but for the sake of the show, I'm going to go ahead and tell you why I disagree, all right, with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, like we all know, started out as a beautiful, beautiful cause, and it was needed at the time when it was created. I feel that it has outlived its purpose for the simple fact of they came when Trayvon Martin had passed away, when that whole thing happened with him. And since that time, they have done nothing but only show up to race bait. They only show up when it has to do with race, furthering the divide between people. And not only that, shattering any hopes of having good relations with the police. They paint the police out to be this monstrous KKK organized group that wants to come out and just kill black people. I disagree with that. I disagree with them being okay with rioters and looters destroying their own communities, which, by the way, I feel even goes deeper than that, because we know that they are funded by a liberal racist named Soros. Okay. So, and he also funded the KKK. So the end game of that be they go out and he has Black Lives Matter go out, then sends Antifa out in the crowd with them to pretend like they're Black Lives Matter, to destroy the communities, all right, burn things down. And what does that do? It takes away from jobs and puts people more dependent on the democratic idea, okay? The liberal idea of, you guys don't need to take care of yourself, we'll take care of you. So then you have people on unemployment, then you get more people on welfare, then you get people asking for money from these people or asking for a handout from these people, which goes back to what you were saying, Dallas, about begging for things at the foot of white America. And when I think of white America, I don't think of white America as Republicans. When I think of white America, I think of liberals. And I think that the liberals, not to put everybody in one slot, the liberals that we see in our face every day, the liberals that are, like Nancy Pelosi and Biden and Soros and all these people, when I think of them, I think of white America and I think of racism. I think of them literally like KKK, just without the hoods and the sheets, But that's just my opinion. That's why I don't agree with Black Lives Matter. I got one more. I know I said I was going to end that with that discussion, but I have one more topic that I want us to touch on, you guys. And it's a new topic that is going on. I need you to unmute yourself, John Teacher. It is a new thing that's going on right now with the media and everything that's happening. Do you, or Gabby, unmute your mic, Gabby. Oh, she's frozen. That's what keeps happening to Gabby. I'm going to ask this question, and this is a real question. All right. Do you support the NFAC? Put your finger up. No one? No one supports that NFAC. That's amazing. That is amazing. Why, John Tisha, do you not support the NFAC?
They're so divisive, and he wants chaos, and his thinking is so extreme. But again, he's pushing the segregation. At the end of the day, he's pushing segregation. He's pushing all his crazy beliefs or whatnot. Period. He's promoting segregation, and we've come so far from that. And most people don't want segregation because most of us are mixed.
Thank you.
Most of us have friends and families and nieces and babies and all of these things. Most of us, I mean, that's how America started, right? A mixing pot of a bunch of stuff anyways. Yeah. And then we started intermingling. Like, no.
This is great.
Super
My brother
basic,
Dallas. Do you support the NFAC? What's your thoughts on them?
No, sir. Well, I have to say, first of all, because of the body of knowledge that I subscribe to, my teacher, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said that we shouldn't carry as much as a penknife as a weapon. We don't need a weapon. Truth out of our mouth is powerful enough to win this war, right?
Yes.
But I don't knock anybody who exercises their amendment rights, right? However, I don't know who this guy is. He's turned up all the time. It is pretty divisive right now. He seems like a big distraction. They're shooting themselves. Can't get their guns to work right. So right now, I think he has a lot of brothers. You don't laugh at me, brother. I'm just saying, man. You're gonna hurt somebody out there. You should probably practice a little more behind the curtain, like we did today before we get live and go live with your movement, because you could really get some people hurt out there.
Yes.
Again, I don't know who he is, and he's a little turned up for what we really need right now. But again, more power to whatever he thinks he's doing, and I encourage people to exercise their rights. I'll say that. I don't want anybody to be shut down. That's what America's about, right?
Yes. Mr. Real. Mr. Real, what do you feel about the NFAC? Why do you not support them?
So I think they just, it's just an excuse to get out here and join in with the rest of them. And real talk, let's be real. When you get into militia, white folk been training like this for eons.
Right.
Go out there, their guns jamming. You know, they don't know what they're doing. It's like, come on, man, y'all got to come with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a patriot. I'm a Second Amendment believer. I'm strapped all the time, and I'm a preacher. So, you know, Jesus said he don't come just to bring peace, but a sword. And you want to go to Nehemiah, they built the wall and had a weapon in the other hand. So, you know, that's not to say that I'm running around here want to be wilding out, but I understand I got a family to protect and obey the laws of the land. The law said I have a right to practice the Second Amendment, so to each his own. And so I don't have no problem with you doing that. But if you're gonna do it right. You know, they do it right. You feel me? They want to run around. We at the KKK headquarters, and you know, we're gonna burn the city down if we don't get it. You know, just go sit down somewhere because you're trying to incite a riot and a civil war. Real talk. Once the first bullet is shot at some white folk or some patriots or some folk, the white militia coming out the woodworks.
Mm-hmm.
They done trained their children. I went to the gun range and the whole family's in there shooting for hours. And they done trained their families and they tactically train like military. It's over. So if we're not gonna do it right, if we're not gonna discipline ourselves to do it, just don't get out here on a whim because you're trying to show we got a right to. That's fine and dandy. They neutralized the Black Panthers. Don't think they won't try to neutralize y'all. They waiting on y'all.
Well, what he's saying, they definitely will, and I hope to God that they do because of the things that he's saying. But we'll get into that a little more when I speak my piece. Let's move over to Gabby real quick. Gabby, do you support the NFAC or do you not?
I don't. Just the fact of the matter is, like, how they're going about it, and it's not even called for. Like, to me, going there is kind of like you're trying to start a war. You're trying to say, "Come on out, KKK, we're ready for you." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what we want. At this time, right now, we need to come together. And by them doing what they're doing is like saying, "Okay, well, you could come out. You know, you could." With the hoods and whatever, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna come out and with our guns. And like Brian was saying about the Black Panther, I feel like maybe that's who they think they are, what they're trying to be, but Gabby, they're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, you was cutting up a little bit. We was hearing you, but you sounded more like a robot.
Can you hear me now? Am I better?
Yes, you're better.
Not really?
You're better.
Okay. What part did y'all hear?
We heard it. It was just trying to get a little choppy.
I'll cut it short. Basically, I do feel like maybe they feel like they are the Black Panthers, like 2020 Black Panthers. I don't know what they're trying to be right now. It's not called for. I feel like, you know, you're going out antagonizing people, like saying, "No, here we are. Where y'all at? You know, we're ready."
Yes.
You know, and that's not what we want.
I agree. My thoughts on the NFAC. Let me tell you right now. I feel like they are the equivalent to the KKK. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this man, first off, Brother Dallas, you and I would not be accepted in that group because this man says that with a mixed guy, he said he would rather deal with the white man because with a mixed man, he doesn't know what he's going to get if the white side is going to come out in you and stab him in the back. All right, that was his words. Now, also, what he said about white people, the things that he was saying about how he'll strip them down and he'll do this and he'll do that. And at the end of what he said, "I will kill you." His exact words. He told them he will kill them. Then he praised the rioters. He praised the people that were setting businesses on fire. He praised the people that were out there causing chaos. So, NFAC, I do not support you. You will never get my support. And I feel like you are the new KKK for Black people. And I do not encourage anybody to join that group. That being said, let's move on a little bit forward right now, okay? The last thing, I'm sorry, one more thing, guys. We're going to do this one together, all right? We're going to do this one together. I'm going to lead this one off, and then you guys can go ahead and give your final thoughts on that matter and on everything. Police. The police. How do you feel about the police? Me, myself, I think that most cops are good. I think that most cops are there to get a paycheck and literally want to help, protect, and serve. I think that the narrative that they push in the media on the police is literally to keep us all divided and to keep stirring the pot. That's what I believe. However, I do believe that the police need work in some communities. And I think that we need to shed the light on the communities that they need it the most, like Chicago, like New York, like these bigger cities, man, where the police do some corrupt stuff. Because I've been picked up by the police and dropped off in another hood. So was my cousins, and they got on some BS. Not to say that I didn't deserve, to be treated the way that I was treated because of the things that I was doing, but no one deserves to have their life put at jeopardy when the police have a job to do, to arrest you or to take you off of the street, not to drop you off in a water full of sharks that want to kill you. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I support the police. I back the blue. But that's only the good ones, not the bad ones. All right. Tom, teacher, how you feel about police?
I agree with you. I honestly, I agree with you.
Okay.
So.
Mr.
Super
Real, how
simple.
do you feel?
I won't lie and say I ain't never said I hate the police. And you know how they target, and I've been profiled, pulled over, all that. I've never had no real issues with the police. And I showed them. The problem is that you got to respect them too. They pull you over. Most time you see some of these videos, they cussing the police out. They're not cooperating, they're not acting right, and it's just escalated from there. I don't agree with defunding the police. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. You need to give them more money and more resources. And I do believe that we need police. We need proper police. And then I believe that police do need to go through psychological evaluations quarterly. You need to sit and ask them how they feel, what they deal with, if they got racism in their, in their system. All these questions need to be brought to the forefront so they can properly police. And they need to go back to community policing, where you get to know the people in the community versus just coming in like cowboys. And if you racist and you got a problem, stay out the minority community. You know what I'm saying? Stay out of the communities. But no, I believe in the black and the blue. I believe in respecting them, and I believe they need to respect us. And it's just, I do believe they need to have some type of reform where they train them how to approach you, how to talk to you, how to de-escalate versus, shoot the joke in the leg. You ain't got to shoot him in the head and in the chest. Shoot him in the kneecap,
I hear you.
You ain't got to go straight for the kill shot, if it get to that. But yeah, I believe we need.
Depends on the situation. We all know that.
Right. I mean, if they come in and kill you, you got to defend yourself. But we need law and order.
Yeah, definitely. Miss Gabby. Miss Gabby, how do you feel about the police?
Well, I definitely do support the police, especially the good ones. If you're a crooked cop, which we know there are tons of crooked cops out there that hide behind the badge. Some of them are bullies. Some of them, they use their badge as power. They're on a power trip. Not all cops are bad. So I do support the police. Also, what I do tell my children, I have 11-year-old boys, and I talk to them from now, and I always tell them, let me tell you something. If you ever in your life get pulled over by the police, you do what you're told. You follow instructions. If they tell you to put your hands up, that's what you do. If they tell you to sit right here, that's what you do. Don't say, wow, what did I do? Just comply. I teach them that from now. You see what I'm saying? I don't want them to get a reason because you're talking back. And that's the problem with a lot of, I would say, not just African Americans. They like to buck the police too. You know what I'm saying? They want to, what did I do? What you doing that? And respect goes a long way. So sometimes the ones you're bucking is not even the ones that's against you. You see what I'm saying? You're just automatically saying, oh, it's the police. So I'm just going to go off on you right off the jump. Don't do that. I agree. A lot of police officers let me go on some speeding tickets. I'm telling you, and they were all white.
There you go.
I definitely cannot say all cops are bad. Do I believe there are some bad ones? Yes, I do. And do I believe that they do need training? They need some more training. They do, because they're all humans at the end of the day. So of course
Yes.
you're gonna have racist cops out there, and sometimes they stick together. So you might say, well, dude, you're a brother. Why you treat me like this? Because they gotta support their partner. You see what I'm saying? That's your job. They gotta support each other as well. So at the end of the day, they do need a little bit more training. You know what I'm saying? And like Brian said, don't always go for the kill shot. That's the biggest thing. Like every situation, if you're running, does not have to lead to a shot in the back of the head because you can't catch somebody. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
definitely right. Definitely right. I agree. So I agree to an extent on most of it, but that's cool. I
But
respect that.
comply.
Brother Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Brother Dallas, go ahead, man. How do you feel about the police?
I mean, such a loaded question. You know what I'm saying? But I'll say this: my teacher, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, has an entire lecture on how he teaches young black men and young brown men how to talk to the police, which is at the base end of it, comply, brother. Don't get into this screaming. That again, we go back to the politics of the leftists, of the media, feeding into the idea. Does it happen? It's happening. So your best bet is to comply with law enforcement. I'll tell you, my personal experience has been bad and good. We all have both bad, but I got cops that's cool as hell with me, man. Cool. Listen, I moved down here to Florida, ain't had one issue with cops. That I had so much bad shit excuse my language. I've had so much bad stuff told me about coming down here. Of course, you know, you got the Zimmermans, you got this and that. I've had, I ain't gonna lie, I was dirty as hell. Not with no drugs or alcohol or nothing, but I didn't have my registration on me. My license wasn't changed though. And this cop was decorated. Older white dude. He said, "Listen, man, I'm gonna walk up that street right here." He said, "Please tell me you got somebody to come pick you up." I've had that on 3 different occasions. Like, listen, you know you're wrong, right? Yeah, yes, I'm wrong right now. Listen, you just blew through that red light, blah blah blah. And then also back when I was growing up in Gary, Indiana, when it was the murder cap and they were on pins and needles, they didn't know who they were pulling over. We had a AK-47. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I didn't. So I can't be mad at law enforcement for being on pins and needles, but I also would like to see a complete reform in the police because at the same time, they're human beings like us. And when they're sitting there watching the news and they're looking and all they're seeing is animalistic behavior from us because that's all they're showing on the news. I probably feel the same way pulling somebody over, not knowing what you were going to walk up to at that window. So psychic evaluations, understanding. Now, one thing I will say that's probably divisive and most people that's watching this mind. I don't believe, now growing up in Gary, Indiana, in my point with this, because it's so much to say, I didn't like seeing my city, my mayor, and I was security for the mayor for a little while, because people, if they know FOI, which is the Fruit of Islam, we are some of the best policing agents of our community that have ever been in existence for the last
Definitely.
100
I agree.
years, right?
I agree.
With no weapons. However, when I used to go to Portage, which was a predominantly 90% white neighborhood that was on the borderline of County Line Road, you know what I'm talking about, Cash.
Oh yeah.
Go to Portage, Mr. Real, you know what I'm talking about. You go to Portage, it's all, listen, the moment you cross that border, them lights gonna come up. If you black, it's probably 90% chance you're gonna get pulled over because they know you probably bringing some weed back home, some liquor or whatever the case may be, because a lot of us didn't want to live in the hood. We wanted to live with white folk, right? But I saw a lot of Gary police officer cops living in Portage that were employed by Gary, Indiana, which is 99% black. So I don't agree that they should be employed. If you are, and again, we're getting into a racial divide, but if you're a white officer, I think it's going to be hard for you to sympathize with pulling my son over when in your mind, you may look at me as a aggressive animal, or you may look at me as a human being. I don't know. But if you're not taught that and you don't see our lives every day, I don't believe that you can sympathize with me more than a brother who's come from the gutter that I come from and then became police officers. And when I watch your showcast, I see you embracing. But a lot of those cops, they have come from the same hood, Hammond, Whiting. They grew up in gangs, and then they wanted to be law enforcement, so they understand our struggle better. So that's
I hear
one thing
you.
I
So
agree.
okay. So the way I'll come back to that is it all goes into perception and then interaction. So you have a perception before your interaction, and that's going to contribute to the way things play out. You know what I'm saying? And that's on both sides, with the police and with the civilian happening to be a minority. We have a perception in our mind. They have a perception in their mind until we come together in the interaction. And if that perception that we have is set in stone, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a bad interaction. But if we're open to be like, okay, this cop may not be the bad cop. And then if the cop is like, yo, this might not be a criminal, that right there, you're going to have probably a better interaction with that cop. So a lot of things play into all of that, but you are right. You are right about a lot of the things that you're saying, brother, and I agree. Even when I disagree with some of the things, I agree with most of the things that you say. Very intelligent. Before I let you go again, Dallas, John Tisha had something else that she would like to add because she just pretty much agreed with me. Go ahead, John Tisha.
Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of you guys on police reform, and in order to do that, you have to have funds to do that, and helping them understand the community that they're in better, and communications. Like, I agree with all that. So I didn't really have a whole lot to add, except for Mr. Real touched on something, and so did Gabby, when it comes to the youth and their interactions, their accountability on their interactions with the police. Because I would hear a lot of parents say that they would teach their kids, you need to act like this, this, and this if when you're dealing with authority. But it wasn't just like a moral basis. It wasn't just like a normal general, this is how you should act with authority in general. It would then become a because you're Black, or because you're this, or because you're that. And I think if we could, and I'm not saying that isn't, maybe that's necessary in some situations or neighborhoods or communities or whatever. I'm not saying that doesn't apply. I'm just saying in general, if we can just foundationally teach our children from a young age to have respect for authority in general, and to go about the right way of doing things if there's a disagreement with that or whatnot, we act this way because that's how we should be acting type of teaching, versus because you're Black or because you're this or because you're that, this is how you have to act. And again, that comes with parenting accountability with your kids. So
I hear you, sister. Okay. Well, we're going to be wrapping up right now. I'm going to give everyone 15 to 20 seconds, if you could, so we can wrap up. I'm going to give you guys a final thought. And then I have something that I would like to say to all of you after that. So we'll start. John Tisha, with your final thought real quick, and we're going to wrap up.
When it comes to the topics that we're on, man, self-accountability, be willing to open your heart to other people and really try to understand where they're coming from, to listen to another person so that they can listen to you. And, there's a time to speak and there's a time to listen. And if you could find those moments, then you'll be able to connect to other people and have hopefully a more peaceful interaction, and hopefully be able to teach more people a different perspective, because perspective is everything. And if your perspective is skewed, your whole world is skewed. And we want to be able to have a full perspective on everything. And in order to do that, you have to be willing to hear multiple different perspectives.
I heard that, my sister. I appreciate you. All right. Mr. Real, go ahead. Give yours. Final thought.
Well, I will say this to the minority community. Do your due diligence and do your research. Everything is not what it seems. Everything that they're trying to tell us and portray to us and trying to gain our perspective on is not the truth. And so please do your due diligence. Please do yourself, be accountable for yourself and your future, and do your research. Read. Don't just believe the narrative that they're pushing. There's a greater evil at work in our nation right now. And we need to open up our hearts and open up our minds and see beyond what they're portraying, because what they're portraying is deception. And we're being deceived and we're being lied to. We've been lied to for years. So I would say do your due diligence, be accountable for your life, and start doing your research.
I agree.
Things are not what they seem to be right now.
I agree. Thank you, my brother. All right, Miss Gabby, I want you to go ahead and give yours. What's your final thought?
My final thought on everything we touched about today, basically, I feel like more people need to open up their hearts and be more open-minded and listen. Don't always be quick to judge people. I've learned that, and basically, I have a problem with doing that. I listen to people and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how you feel. You're against this person. So you're black, but you're not with us. And so
Right.
I've learned how to open up my mind and my heart and listen and see where everybody else is coming from and put myself in their shoes. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was always so closed-minded to where I was always feel like I'm being attacked. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And so I never
Hmm.
really looked at the overall picture, so to speak, on a lot of things that was happening. And I hate getting into politics. And that's why a lot of people don't like to talk about it, because it turns into this big argument sometimes.
Yes.
And so basically, I don't get mad at anyone. Like if you say, oh, I'm gonna vote for Trump, or I'm gonna vote for this person, and that's fine. Everybody have a right to vote for who they want to or support who they want to, and I'm
Yes.
okay with that. You see what I'm saying?
I
But
hear you.
at the end of the day, I think the world will be a better place if we all could just agree to disagree and move on, and still, you see what I'm saying, like have love and respect for each other. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Everybody's
I
not
agree.
gonna agree, but
I
we
agree.
have to respect each other. If we can't respect each other, it's no way we can live with each other.
I love it. I appreciate you, my sister. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, big brother. Big brother Dallas, go ahead, man. What is your final thought today?
Oh man, my final thought. First of all, I want to say, man, I'm proud of
Thank
you.
you.
I want to say that publicly to your audience.
It's your audience now too,
I
brother.
watch my audience as well. I hope that when you're in front and you have the responsibility to speak to people. What I've learned today is that it's not about you. And it is about your perspective, but you have a responsibility with this platform, and I'm all about unity. I'm proud to be a part of this movement here. I know that God is involved with it, and I know that in the end, that our unity is going to overcome all of this diversity, this division, and I'm here for it. And I hope you invite me on to the next
Oh
show.
man, you're a panelist forever now, bro.
Well, I'm a panel. I'll be
You're a
here. So
panelist.
I hope the audience got
Yo,
something out of this. I know that they're speaking. I can't see it, but I'm excited to be a part of this, brother. Thank you, Cash. You know, we
no
go
problem at
back
all, bro.
so far. I love
Yo,
you.
thank you. I love you too, man.
I know you do.
All right, all right. I'm gonna give my final thought, you guys. So look, my final thought is I hope you guys seen something today. All right. I hope that you have a little more of an understanding, and I hope that you are a little more hopeful in what can be done. Because everybody here did not agree on everything, and we all had a difference of opinion. Some of us support Black Lives Matter, some of us don't. Some of us are Muslims, some of us are Christians, some of us are just Jesus fans, some of us are Republicans, some of us are Democrat, some of us don't have any political belief. Some of us agree with some things, and some of us don't. We broke down barriers today. It shouldn't be possible if you trust in the news. Well, what the news says, this should not have even happened. It shouldn't even have been a thing, but it did. It did happen. And that's dope. All right. So going forward with this show, the topics are going to be a little more deep, and it's going to be a little more controversial. And I hope that you guys all tune in for it. I really do. I appreciate everybody that's here with me today. I hope that you enjoyed the discussion, and I hope that you will be more involved in the comment sections when we're doing the live, because I can see them all. All right. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell icon, like this video, share this video. I appreciate you. If you're a part of my Facebook, please go like the video, share the video on the Streetlights Unity page on Facebook. If you haven't already, please go over there and like that Streetlights Unity Movement. Like that page, share that page. Tell my cast, yo, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. And this thing is going to be huge. I have no doubt about it. We're going to keep getting deeper. To everybody that's watching the show, God bless you. Unite, don't fight. Be a street light, because only you can be the change that you want to see in the world. And remember, when you get stressed out, just breathe. All right. Y'all have a good night. Be back at you next Sunday with another edition of Sum of All Parts.